I actually would like to know a little bit more about, like, how did your start even way, before the Oakland opportunity? Tell me about where you're from originally. And,
Sure. I'll always, I'll correlate it back to aviation,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, and you don't think about these things at the time, but looking back, I realized that probably my younger upbringing has something to do with my fascination and love of aviation today. And that is my parents are immigrants into this country and came from very, very humble beginnings. They believed in the power of a very strong work ethic, instilled that in all of their children, me plus my 3 siblings. And as we, humble beginnings, my father became a physician, and as he became successful, it was important to him to travel and to give back, both in the form of medical knowledge and also civic responsibility in both Africa and in the Caribbean. And so growing up, I had a very, I would say, global experience living in a number of those places and traveling to a number of those places. And at the time, as a young person, I didn't necessarily appreciate those experiences, but I did always appreciate how each airport and each place we landed, what it represented to me, and how different they all were. So it was very different to land in Senegal versus, at Schiphol, right? And there was always kind of something unique happening in my life with that experience. And so I think, that recognizing how important the jet travel is, opening up air markets and the ability for people to fly, and how it changes lives so dramatically, I think had a kind of maybe a Freudian influence on where I ultimately chose to have my career.
Our community obviously is looking for opportunities. Will there be job fairs, or how will we look to possibly bridge that gap to find out about opportunities that you all will have potentially at the airport?
That is so important, and I'm optimistic on what we're going to do to create both small business, minority business, women and veteran-owned business opportunities, as well as local job creation and workforce hiring. This is the part that's most exciting to me about having a major program, because when you have major programs, one in an organization, LAWA is committed to making sure that we develop our path forward, our procurement processes with job creation and local small businesses, hiring in mind with that program. So, we get to start from a foundation that's been established, but take it to the next level, because it's very rare to have a $5 billion to $8 billion 10-year opportunity to create a capital program of that size and nature. So this is the part that's most exciting to me. I have seen the direct results on what it can do for small businesses to grow and to be long-term sustainable because they've had opportunities to work on airport projects.
And you think that same approach will be used for minority contractors?
Yes.
And
that'll be very intentional to do. So, and of course in California we have to be very careful and have race neutral.
Yes.
But the fact is, when we look at small business enterprises, many of them are disadvantaged business enterprises, which are minority, women, veterans. So our program can be all-encompassing, even though the goals officially might have to be race neutral. But I expect to see great results from the opportunity ahead, and there will be a team and the leadership of the Board of Airport Commissioners as well, really setting the stage to make sure that our programs are beneficial and impactful.
Okay. I was wondering, too, about, when I was at the airport 20 years ago, we had a little bit of a rocky relationship with some of the neighbors on El Segundo and Westchester community. But then as I was leaving, a lot of the noise complaints were even coming far out on the east. Are you still experiencing those sorts of things? And what sorts of, steps are you taking to make them a little bit more friendly?
I can't comment on that time, but I would say, and Steve maybe you can add to this, but I've worked. Airports do create impacts, and it's important for us to approach it from a matter of transparency, being accountable, for the impacts and also educating.
Right.
And so I think those values help to transform relationships with adjoining communities. And the other benefit that has happened over time is that the business is maturing with technology. And so aircraft are becoming quieter. They're becoming more environmentally friendly. And so some of the work, even say that I do, I'm on a national advisory oversight committee for aviation research. And so, you know, we fund projects at a national level that look to create improvements for airports, and that can include noise and environmental initiatives. And so we've seen tremendous progress in being able to mitigate and create, you know, new platforms where the impacts are lessened. But they're still there, and we have to be very real and transparent about what those are, and make sure the community has access to us to talk about it, and to be very frank about those issues.
Yeah, I think in the 8 years I've been at the airport, which is, you know, we were never overlapping, but between the technology change with the airplanes, that the airplanes are much quieter. Even the largest airplane, the A380, which is a double-decked airplane, is a pretty quiet airplane given its size. I think that's made a big difference, but I also think the airlines have become a little more conscious of their responsibility. They've done a lot to, not just on the noise side, but on the air quality side, to try to make their ground service equipment more or less polluting, more compliant. In terms of the airport's relationship with the communities, I think the things that we've done the last couple of years that maybe have been a little bit different. I think the master plan process that was going on when you were there scared a lot of people.
Yes.
Because, you know, planners, you know, think outside the box, and that, you know, people start talking about more than 4 runways, and it scares people. I think we're through that. That was good. And I think in the last bunch of years, and I think Deborah will continue it, we've been both transparent and honest with the communities. I think there was probably a period of time where there's a lot of mistrust because, you know, the degree of transparency wasn't high enough.
Right.
So I think with El Segundo, to use an example, I think we have a good working relationship. We've worked out a number of projects with them, and I'll use an example. We're building a new hangar for Qantas Airlines where they'll maintain these A380s. I mean, we worked through all the concerns they had about, okay, you're going to put a maintenance base close to my community. What's going to happen? How does it work out? So we worked with them to get through that. I think we've done that with Westchester on what's called the North Side development. I still think we have some challenges, you know, reaching out into Inglewood. The long approach path of the airplanes into Inglewood is something that is, you know, it's just a challenge. But I think if we tell the truth and be transparent, it's going to keep helping keep the relationship better than it was probably in, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, which was pretty rocky. I wasn't here at the time, but I was watching from other airports. It's pretty rocky.
And then there's all the soundproofing.
Yeah, we've done a lot of
substantial
soundproofing.
soundproofing programs.
Many friends that have benefited from the sound.
I was going to say, I was a resident of Inglewood as a youth, and we didn't have the soundproof window, but now many residents do, so I can appreciate that looking, you know, now if I was, so the continued growth of sound.
The school soundproofing has gotten a lot done. It hasn't gone as far as it should go, but, you know, it just takes time to do those things, and it's real challenging to re-engineer a school, keep it in code. Because when you touch the school, you got to bring it up to code, and that it's sort of the whole thing gets very complicated.
We have a lot of things that we're working on. We're working on a partnership with Waze to try and also do some improvements. So there's some good things that are coming, but that's a great resource for folks.
Was there anything that you all wanted to share on that opportunity?
Yeah, thank you for being thorough. We got to cover a lot.
If there's anything that you all forgot or that comes to mind for us, if we could reach out or vice versa, just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you. It's great to see you. Thank you.